I often point out that my videos are more or less a live update, and in general rarely more than 2 weeks behind real time. And it's for a reason. I just like the challenges real-time status brings. No editorial scripted or polished storylines. Even my setbacks are transparent in order to share reality of sailing, this lifestyle, or even when taking on huge projects like now. And I would claim that one of the biggest challenges taking on such a big project like this is to stay motivated. My solution to this, even though I work 10 to 14 hours a day, also try to squeeze in some social activities with my local friends and families here. He's showing me some children's thing on his phone. This gives me lots of positive energy that I can promise you has been much needed, knowing the last 2 weeks mostly been about redoing things I was not so happy with. But it's a balance, and without strong self-discipline, hard to not stay focused. A bit extraordinary days behind, with Balinese New Year celebration as the highlight of last week. And still a bit unstable weather, even though we finally are about to leave the rainy season behind us here. So I have a friend here that has offered me something unbelievable. He has this epic studio office that he actually do not use, and he said that I can borrow it as much as I want. That's perfect, especially now as the situation is on board Be Free. Needs a little bit cleaning. Yeah, it's raining, but that doesn't really matter because I have this studio. Ta-da! And the best part, it has air conditioning. I hope this place is not gonna be too comfortable. It's obviously perfect for me to edit videos, but I have so much more to do on Be Free, so I cannot just hide out here, even how much I love to be here and how comfortable it is. But now I'm gonna make this video for you guys. Join me as I'm sailing around the world on Be Free, a Bavaria 55 cruiser. In the previous episode, I shared some of the challenges the seasonal weather has been giving me here. Wow, that was wild. I was crazy. Not only some delays due to unstable weather, strong winds and lots of rain, the consequences followed by this, and maybe even mistakes in the decision making on my side. I shared my thoughts that I probably should have made the framework better, and with at least twice the numbers of support beams. I think maybe if I had used the thicker one on the roof, it might have saved me a lot of time. In even earlier episode, I shared my intentions of building a hardtop that I actually can walk under all the way to the stairs, as you should be able to do on a yacht this size. However, the boom sits pretty low in this context, and this gives me challenges and limitations in the design, down to, if not millimeters, at least down to centimeters. In order to make it strong, I need stringers under, because of the span stretching more than 4 meters. I was super excited to finally be able walking on the roof, because this simplifies things for the next steps. But after removing all the supports and starting with some measurements, checking the alignments on curves and lines, I was really not happy. Guess being borderline to a perfectionist, I felt like having no other options than redo the stringers after some serious adjustments. This basically means I had to bring out my angle grinder, put on a sanding disc and sand down the stringers and redo it all. At least I know it gives me the strength I'm looking for. All I have to do is, well, I just said it, do it all over again. Yeah, that was 2 weeks straight down the toilet. But what's really motivating me is I know this is gonna be such a game changer for future sailing. And I just can't wait to get out there, continue doing what I love the most. sailing. But first, I have to keep going on this project. My hardtop roof is now close to perfect. I've rebuilt the stringers after I made a new rig, helping me to force the roof into perfection. Drilling holes and using thin ropes, adding tension on the spots that needed to be lower, and forcing dents up using support with tension the opposite direction. And then I rebuilt all the stringers all over again. The reason I'm so obsessed with this is I really want to minimize the use of filler, still achieving a high quality finish at the end. Not only do filler add lots of unnecessary weight, it also almost for sure gives you cracks later on. This is things I've learned from the younger version of myself with other projects and mistakes in my past. Talking about cracks and delamination, the main reason for not going with plywood instead of honeycomb in this project is that point exactly. This is my experience-based opinions without claiming to hold the blueprint. So I'm definitely not telling you that you cannot go with plywood. I just share my experience-based opinion that it's not the best idea. That's why I choose to go with honeycomb, even though it creates a lot more work and of course, as a consequence, takes a lot more time. However, the main issue with plywood is, from my experience, delamination and deformation. I tried several methods and techniques. I used epoxy, I used industrial epoxy. Not many are aware of that, but epoxy is actually quite soft, especially compared to polyester. And also epoxy is not that good at keeping humidity out, which means if there are any ways that humidity or condensation can form, you will have delamination. So what I've learned the hard way in the past on other projects is that even though it goes 10 times faster with plywood, the price to pay later is high. Honeycomb is fast to cut, and you can just glue it together, so in many ways also a pretty fast way to go, especially if you only want to make a mock-up. In retro perspective, I would done things different if I started from scratch based on the experience I now have. Not only would I have been more generous with the support beams in the framework as mentioned earlier, I would even glass over one layer of 300 grams fiber before cutting and gluing things together. And for the roof, used thicker honeycomb and probably chosen 20mm instead. Man, this has created a lot of extra work, and sometimes it feels almost a bit overwhelming, the entire project. But now I'm very positive. I feel I have a very good progress, and I think once I get rid of all this support, things should start to get much faster. And now, as it also looks so much better on the outside, I can start working also there again. Yeah, I also ordered windows. So not long from now I will have the materials to make the windows how I want them. So yeah, I think overall I will not give any estimate of finishing time, but the progress I think from now on will go a bit smoother and faster. I still have a few nuts to crack, as I want to incorporate this arch in the design as part of the support aft. Also, all the cables will go inside these tubes due to what I have mentioned earlier, not wanting to make any new holes in B3. One thing I've been thinking about, you know, when you're making a prototype, you always end up with a lot of ideas as you go. And one of the things that's been a bit challenging all these years is I have not really had a good place for the VHF. And being a solo sailor and someone want to communicate with me, it is sometimes challenging being at the helm station, and yeah. So I have been thinking about actually adding a box here to have integrated a VHF there with the microphone here. So it's very easy for me to just turn on, take care, and also as a backup. A dedicated place for my Starlink and Iridium antennas are also under development. The maritime environment here are not treating this equipment very well, so I just for the fun of it, on a rainy day, made a mock-up only to see how big a dome would be for the Starlink antenna. Only to have an idea about this if I should incorporate space for this one on top of the arch. And now it's time for me to hit the shower and get dressed, because it is actually Balinese New Year. So it's going to be super exciting to see and observe the Hindu celebration. And I'm gonna do this here in Serangan, and with lots of friends and with the local people I know here. So it's gonna be really nice. I'm so looking forward to this. My first stop is visiting my dear friend Mare. He knows everything about the Hindu traditions and are my go-to source for knowledge and understanding. I'm also a bit curious about tomorrow, that's Silent Day.
That tradition is part of the tower ke sana, I mean in Bali. Tomorrow morning 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Until the day after tomorrow
1 o'clock.
Yeah. Tonight what? Yeah.
So it's 24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours, that's right.
So the special thing about it is like it is Silent Day, which means basically similar to a curfew or lockdown, if someone remembers that. And it's like, just embrace it. If you are a tourist, you're not allowed to leave your hotel, you're not allowed to walk in the streets. If you are caught walking on the street or riding a motorbike, you can actually risk to be deported. Because it's a violation of the tradition and the rules of Bali. And it's only one day a year, a silent day, and I think we should just embrace it. I'm gonna stay on my boat, look at the sky, see the stars, because there will be absolutely no lights, so it's no light pollution, no airplanes, the air gonna be fresh. I think it's gonna be a very nice experience. I think so too. Yes, it's correct, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And at the sport bar, I got expert help to add the sarong accordingly, getting ready to participate in the New Year celebration. Okay, we are ready. A bit chaotic in the beginning, but the atmosphere and privilege to be right in the middle of this is unbelievable. Many of the locals not only knows me, but even knows my name here after being in this local community for quite a while. Feeling a connection to Serangan, it was natural for me to spend Nyepi in Serangan with so many people I know here. The parade here that leads to the local stadium are most likely more humble compared to the busy places like Kuta, Canggu, Sanur and more. But here I feel closer and know that I'm allowed to walk around making videos, sharing with you guys. Much closer and more genuine. The large paper march giants called Ug Ug are often a part of competition between districts and villages. And according to traditions, these are torched after the festival, and it's believed that any evil spirits that have brought diseases and or miseries to the island during the past year will vanish after this ritual. Bali is the island of gods, and even though the Hindu is the dominant religion here, you don't have to look further than our local bar to experience how the coexistence among religions are in reality. Not only Hindu is represented among the staff, but it has a mix of Catholic and Muslim as well, working and having fun together. Never have I ever felt more integrated and so close in a festival like this before. So my expectations of celebrating this here in the small village on this tiny island Serangan turn out to be just amazing. So close up and genuine, still very different and far from my own culture.
What do you say? You say happy new, I don't... Silent day.
Yeah. Yippee.
Yuppie.
Yippee.
Yuppie.
Happy Silent Day.
Happy silent day.
Yes. Sixma. Small one. Aye. But that's for bait. You don't eat.
Yeah?
You eat? Like you can eat this? The Indonesian people are the sweetest people I ever met so far on my endless adventure. Generous and always a warm smile. And I can't wait to be done with Be Free, to keep exploring more of the islands in this magical nation. But I can't wait to have the cockpit clean, nice and tidy again, no more dust and living on a construction site, because it's pretty tiring. So yeah, fingers crossed it will be done in not too far. But it's not much more to say than thank you so much for all your support. A special shout out to all my patrons. If you haven't already, I will be very happy to see you subscribe to my channel and to help me grow this channel.